Back to our mess. Hello? Hermanubis.
What can I do for you, 1K?
We have to rescue Byron.
I agree. We can't just leave one of our most important citizens in that death trap.
What do you think about the technologies we've discovered?
They all sound very promising, of course. Apparently, it's possible to just magic things into existence now. But what is the cost, 1K? There's always a cost.
I have to go.
It's always a pleasure to speak to a citizen.
It just went... that debate just didn't go any further.
What did the mayor say?
But at what cost?
To keep going until we found Byron.
Did he want us to leave him behind?
No, he's just concerned for our safety. And he's right to be. But we're going back anyway.
Huh.
Great trials lie ahead of you, my child. But your choices will determine the future.
Melville, are you receiving?
Yep. Welcome back to the mysterious island, everyone.
How's the situation?
Whatever Byron did seems to have sent the whole system into some kind of lockdown. I can't access any of the terminals, although I suspect 1K still could.
Why would that be the case?
When 1K connected to the data stream, the system assigned him a user profile. The rest of us are locked out, which means I'll need your help, 1K, because a lot of stuff doesn't seem to be working.
Okay. Check it out and see what you can fix. But please remember, what matters most is finding Byron.
Staying safe is probably more important than that. Or it all comes crashing down. Oh, 3 messages while I was gone. I was alarmed that there's only 2 other people in the vehicle, but I remembered we left one behind. But since we went to the capital, I really thought we'd bring somebody back with us. At first I thought it'd be Cornelius, but he wasn't there. Then I thought it might have been the person we were paired with. Or just someone new. I even briefly thought that all those people at the table were the new crew. But then no one. Let us take a look at that golden gate and see how far along it is. I don't remember if it was updating based on the other worlds or some other total. Nah, it still has none. Well now. How does all this work then? There are passages around that you think you could take. But I don't think the resources generally exist with which to go there. And that raises all sorts of questions. City news. The expedition to Founders Island has suffered a serious setback, as all contact with Byron, 7, was lost during a foray into the interior of the megastructure. Byron is assumed to be alive, but trapped within a data stream overload and unable to disconnect. Several sources in the government expressed a lack of surprise at this turn of events, citing the first companion's history of rash behavior. Hopefully this gets people thinking about the dangers of populism, one source told me. It's been alarming to see people suddenly falling for this utopian foolishness. That's nonsensical. That's just a completely nonsensical idea. One, maybe he is rash, but the idea that him simply touching a terminal, a thing that everyone was doing all the time, would not only cause a data overload, which admittedly does happen, but would bizarrely capture him and take him away, as opposed to just leaving him like it always did before. Like, the idea that it was a specific unique trap is unusual. It's an unprecedented outcome. But also, hope this gets people thinking about the dangers of populism. That's not even related to what happened. Just someone fell into a fucking Indiana Jones trap. It's not really related to ideology. I'm very happy to announce that the Gehenna Memorial Interactive Fiction Exhibition is now open to the visitors. Come play the 3 winning works at the Gehenna Memorial Pavilion. Finally! Can't wait! Wonderful news. I'll be attending today. Nice. Will these be made available through the interface too? Yes, after the exhibition is over. The argument game's not very good. The optimist. The pessimist is commonly spoken of as the man in revolt. He is not. Firstly, because it requires some cheerfulness to continue in revolt. And secondly, because pessimism appeals to the weaker side of everybody, and the pessimist therefore drives as roaring a trade as the publican. The person who is really in revolt is the optimist, who generally lives and dies in desperate and suicidal effort to persuade all the other people of how good they are. It has been proved 100 times over that if you really wish to enrage people and make them angry, even unto death, the right way to do so is to tell them that they are all the sons of God. Jesus Christ was crucified, it may be remembered, not because of anything he said about God, but on a charge of saying that a man could in 3 days pull down and rebuild the temple. Every one of the great revolutionists, from Isaiah to Shelley, have been optimists. They have been indignant, not about the badness of existence, but about the slowness of men in realizing its goodness. The prophet who was stoned is not a brawler or a marplot. He is simply a rejected lover. He suffers from an unrequited attachment to things in general. G.K. Chesterton. Rip Byron. Rip Byron. TLDR. Rip Byron. Oh no. The bad TLDR. We don't know that he's dead. He may just be lost. He could still be saved. I was gonna say something sarcastic, but you know what? In the spirit of optimism, I really hope so. The context feels a little strange, but whatever. The secret to pissing people off is saying that they're the son of God. I'm like, I feel like that's for different reasons. Circular Oasis, Southern Coast. Alright, so this is called South 1, so I guess I'll go here first. Once again, 8 puzzles, 2 pyramids, or 2 optional puzzles, 1 gate and 1 lab each. Seems very consistent. Given that I was recently at like 50% completion...
Okay, I'm sending you a little software upgrade I put together that should allow you to detect which files will lead to a data stream overload. Unfortunately, I'm not doing this to help you avoid them. In fact, I'm gonna need you to search for more. I'm sorry about that. But if we're going to unlock all the systems that aren't responding, you'll have to connect to the data stream. Possibly more than once. It's the only way for me to get access.
Well, connecting to the overload seems useful, but it might be an unpleasant feeling. I'm not entirely clear. Ah, color is back. I always disliked snow levels in games. There's not a beauty to snow, but in video game form in particular, it's just like, man, this level is just gray.
In this area, there seems to be a problem with the machine that makes the tetromino bridges. That means you can solve the puzzles, but you can't activate the tower. Look for a lab that lets you connect to the data stream.
I already found it. I'll send you the coordinates.
That was fast. The tetrominoes don't work. This has those beautiful red rocks that remind me of like Abduction. There's the green statue. And Abduction was a while ago. They went and made a whole new game. It wasn't very good, I'm sorry to say. Is the lab under me? Yep, it was so under me that I landed directly in its doorway. And fortunately, the new game from Cyan just wasn't very good. It's a bummer, especially when it takes like an actual eternity to for them to make a new game. But when one comes out and it's not very good, you're like, well, that's it for 6 years. See you next time. I'm actually struggling to remember what it was called, even though it's less than a year old. I remember Abduction. I don't remember what the new one was called. Wow. Whoops.
Look at this place. It's beautiful, isn't it? Mesmerizing. That's how it lures you in, I think. You see all these beautiful things and your imagination starts working overtime. And the puzzles, the towers, the mysterious apparitions, it all draws you further in, deeper into the trap. What if that's the whole point of this place? What if every time you have one of those visions, another little bit of you is corrupted, overwritten with the hubris of this place?
I haven't been corrupted. Let's not be superstitious.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to suggest you were, whatever it is I'm trying to say. I guess I'm just disappointed in myself. Byron needs me. You all need me to do my job, and I can't even use a terminal. If this is all really the work of the Founder, I don't know, maybe she lost her way. Or maybe we're just not ready. But once we find Byron, I suggest we get the hell out of here and never come back.
Wave! We've lost our optimist, so now it's down to just the naysayers and Yakut, who's more measured, more hesitant in what is sometimes optimism. Oops. I think Yakut has depression. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Why did they put that there? Gravity again? We saw stuff being pulled to walls before, and that eventually got set up. It paid off when we went inside the place. From Thuya. Dear Founder, everything has gotten so much worse since you left. We keep pursuing the goal, but our lives are getting less happy. When the weather is dry and the dams run low, there is nothing to do in the whole city. Things don't get fixed anymore. We even had to dismantle the cinema. I know it was frivolous and pointless when we could just watch video files, but it was fun to go watch movies together, like people used to do. I believe in your wisdom, Founder. I believe we have to avoid hurting the planet like our ancestors did. But I don't know if the mayor is going to... I don't know if the mayor is doing what you would have wanted. Isn't there another way of reaching the goal? Please. I know you left for a reason, but I don't think we can go on this way. 5358, 5358, 5358. All the responses, which were not delivered to Thuya, but they said were the conversation between them, are they're missing. Talos Principle 2b. A fragment from Stranton's On the Universe. Amintus, you've made it quite the catalog of horrors, Straighten. Children dying in their mother's arms, cities perishing by the plague, and even animals living without peace or happiness. Nicomachus, why must we listen to this? You know I have just eaten a heavy dinner. Stratton, because these things, which are ugly, must be confronted for us to reach the truth. You spoke of justice earlier, Amintus. But are these things just? They are not. Then you must admit the universe itself is not just. If the gods exist, then they do not bend the world to their will. Rather, the universe proceeds as a machine, following its rules. Justice and virtue are human inventions. Are you saying justice and virtue are therefore illusory and should be abandoned? The opposite, my friend. It is mankind alone that can impose these values upon this machine. Footnotes. It remains unclear whether Stanton believed in the gods or used them solely as metaphors. His work on the deities is no longer extant. Tantalizingly, Diogenes Laertius mentions that it caused a fistfight at Elysium. Athena. I thought what made us human was that we searched for meaning. But perhaps a better way of thinking about it is that we create meaning. This is a reoccurring phrase throughout this entire game. What makes us human? They keep saying it. Some people say it with certainty, but they all have completely different ideas of what makes us human. Just like how in the previous conversation Rand talked about it being... Rather fittingly, Rand thought that it was our reason that made us human, and that we need to use the Somna thing to unlock our truest, most pure, and most accurate reason. Noima 8. There's a pattern underneath. The new primary site. Lake water for cooling. Rent's completely corrupted. Ruh-roh.
Our ancestors kept telling themselves that the brevity of their lives didn't matter. But they had so little time to ever really think about anything. I've spent several human lifetimes studying this mystery, and only now am I beginning to see. The simulation was built on top of material reality, unable to escape its constraints. In the same way, physics as we understand it, even quantum physics, is built on top of a deeper reality. A set of rules that define existence itself. There is a universal language of creation, and I think we can learn it.
Yeah. She agrees with me.
Creation. What were they doing here? And how far did they get?
I can't answer that, but I think I'll fix the Tetromino bridge, machine, ring thing. I say I think because it's not in the schematics. And what I'm doing is hack work at best. Try it and see if it works.
I said before that the reoccurring argument that immortality would be a bad thing and that the brevity of life is what gives it meaning is cope that people make up for dumb reasons. And it seems Athena agrees with me given what she just said. And yeah, the last icon was red last time, so that's the overloads. Thekla 2. Beloved founder, years have passed and still there was nothing but silence. Have we sinned? Have you abandoned us for our arrogance? Agreed? Some of the others continue to build. I told them not to, but they don't listen to me. Byron is the worst of them. He disrespects you constantly, spreading lies and... Please know that there are those who remain faithful, who respect the limits you set, and seek wisdom and humility as you taught. We may win the next election. Perhaps then you will return. Praise your name. Thekla 862. From Trebuchet. Trebuchet. Founder. Although I was born in the early days of New Jerusalem, I never knew you well. This is not your fault. I became so focused on improving the dam that I didn't develop much in the way of social relationships, except perhaps with Melville. That doesn't mean I was unhappy. I was, in fact, extremely content. I like to solve complex problems in peace and in quiet. That's who I am. But now, the pleasure I use to get out of my work is faded. I may not need a lot of company, but I want my work to be meaningful, to contribute. It does not feel like that anymore. And when I suggest new projects, the mayor acts like I've committed a crime, like I should be ashamed. I do not like this. I do not care about social issues or debates. I do not want to get involved. I just want to be able to keep working on making things better. Please fix this situation. Thank you. Trebuchet 216. So Athena was around for at least until 216, and probably beyond that point, whenever she left, paying the price. From the introduction to Portraits of the Martyrs by S.T. Sanyal. The list of people condemned for advocating new ideas is long and depressing. Ignaz Semmelweis, utterly destroyed for suggesting doctors wash their hands. Ludwig Boltzmann ridiculed for suggesting the existence of atoms. Robert H. Goddard mocked for arguing that a rocket could reach the moon. Al-Razi attacked for questioning the existence of humors. Barbara McClintock's discovery of transposition ignored for years. The list goes on. And we haven't even touched on what happens to those who suggest political rather than scientific improvements. Even when they succeed, they often still pay with their lives. These days, the idea of progress is frequently derided as yet another narrative, identified with the establishment by critics who curiously portray themselves as rebels. But the truth is that every step forward that humanity has ever taken has 5358 enormous personal cost. That means it's even more important to stand up for the truth, because so many others have already sacrificed themselves for it. It does. But what is the right way of doing it? Many died for the truth without accomplishing anything. Maybe we just have to do what's right and trust the universe. They keep saying, but what at oh, I did not fall in here again. Oh my god. This level. Actually absurd. Make sure they're all scanned. Alright. Got stuck in here twice. Bit absurd. But they keep saying, but at what cost? And it's like, applied so universally and vaguely that's mostly just frustrating to hear. And it's like, in these cases, you're like, the people who are deriding the idea of searching for more information and so on are seemingly doing so because it will take a toll on the planet and be dangerous if you pursue like further technology and so on like that. Which is a weird, slightly odd thing for a bunch of robots to say, but whatever. At least makes some level of sense why they're talking the way they are. This is so beautiful. But what's very strange is that here, Athena took this document about people whose lives were ruined by advocating for the truth when power structures didn't want that truth to get out or were against the idea and ruined that person's life as a result of them advocating for it. And that's extremely different, because in those cases the person involved is just correct and the people that are opposing them are just incorrect, and their opposition is self-interested. And I don't think anyone involved is advocating for that idea. Like, because that puts the people who were wrong throughout history as being in league or on the same side of the same stuff as the people who are today in this game advocating against the idea of advancing and expanding. And those people have very different motivators for why they're thinking that way. And they generally, I don't think the people that are worried that we might expand and ruin the world again are the same people who I don't think they want to be conflated with people who ruined Galileo because he dared say that the sun was the center of the universe. So Athena's comment's kind of strange there because it's just not... It's extremely apples and oranges. The thing that they're talking about is not comparable. Hello, puzzle. To look out for the rest of this place. They're usually good about putting the Sphinx early in the level so that you can figure out what the challenge is. Hello. So somewhere there is a grid of things to input. It might be the puzzles. It might be something else. Is the level grid shaped? Probably not. There must just be something like that somewhere. That's weird. Over there is one of those things you can bore through. That looks like a puzzle up there. I guess the bridge leads there. Okay, that's one of the puzzles. This is actually the next puzzle. Looks like 2. So what is the mechanic this time? Phase entry. Oh. I can't go. Oh, teleport. Huh. Alright, unsurprisingly, you can't really send that anywhere. But the mechanic of this level is that you have a teleporter that you can move around the environment. Whenever you have line of sight, you can teleport to it, including through purple. Can you do it through blue? Usually can't. Nope, not through blue, but through gate. So this is seemingly the exit we'll do at the end. Interesting that's a separate gate. Instead of just turning off everything to let us out. So we need to get up this slope, which involves powering this fan. Okay, you can teleport while holding something. That's important. That sends the teleporter over, which gives us a second object, which required us to understand that we could do that. And now that that's there, I can grab this fan and teleport to this to attach the fan.
I've decoded another file from the data stream. Listen to this.
Mother and father think of our discoveries as a language, a code. But I think they're wrong. They're so caught up in the technical details of running the experiments and upgrading the machine that they're not paying attention to the patterns we're finding, to the symmetries, the harmonies, the melodies. The fundamental language of reality is a kind of music, and it's beautiful. Beauty is an inherent property of the cosmos.
I love the way she looks at things.
So Athena is the product of a simulation that was trying to create a proper human being that had free will via a simulation and AI construct. And then she herself is now trying to make what I think the perfect human. She's trying to create... Athena's trying to create a person worthy of continuing the human on, or the race on, and in a way that she maybe doesn't even feel personally up to snuff for. Anyway, this level's very weird because there's open air. Like maybe if I fall, I just die, so maybe the barriers are unnecessary, but this is the first time we've had an open air level, and it's very unnerving. And the fact that it's called the escape makes me think I just gotta go, huh, and just jump right off. There's even one of those down there. Like, what's up with that? What secret is hiding there? Okay, this is a solid barrier. Solid barrier. Teleporter. Teleporter I can't see. Red laser will open this gate. But at what cost? So it seems like a chance to be able to nab this and put it back down to open the gate on this side. Which then means that we don't need to have this barrier open anymore. But I don't know if I can actually take it anywhere else because this is all solid. And we can't grab it through the hole in the wall unless there's another one holding it open. Or we get like a fan or something. And now that you're here, I can do this. And now I've got a teleporter. Whoa. And with the power of teleportation, I can grab this and go ahead. And now it's outside. Look at us go. Okay, so that's a green laser emitter, and out there somewhere is the so yeah, you can't survive out here. But somewhere out here is the green statue. Don't remember exactly where it was, but now we know where the emitter is, so we know where to take that. I've been waiting for stuff like that, the outside of puzzle things. I don't know if this game has been filled with those kinds of secrets that I've just not been finding, or what. But I wonder. I wonder continuously, is all that I think about. Alright, so with this I can put the teleporter past the door and go through it. And now I'm here. We need a blue portal to continue. The blue gate is there. I don't think a hole in the wall is going to open that one up. My goal is to connect that to that. Oh, right. I don't need to keep this open anymore because I can just take this out with me. Which makes those very easy to connect. We did it. Now I guess I'll point this over here, even though realistically I won't be ready to solve this for a while. Unless... I don't know. Green laser. I believe I saw the statue that needed it, but I don't remember where it was.
Listening to Miranda talk about beauty made me think. Okay, this might be super weird and kind of pretentious, but I honestly mean it. What is beauty? Like, where does it exist? Is it just in our minds? Or is there some objective component, something quantifiable? I always thought it was just perception, but if I understand her correctly, Miranda sees beauty as a property of the universe itself.
Beauty is an objective property that we can perceive. Beauty exists solely in our minds. Beauty exists in the interaction between ourselves and the world. The idea that beauty is objective is stupid. Beauty exists in the interaction between the self and the world.
Interesting. So the more humans there are, the more we spread across the world, the more beauty there is. But then, doesn't it follow that it's our duty as a species to grow? To make the universe more beautiful?
In a way, arguably, if you're pursuing the thought process that we as humans are the universe observing itself and creating value and beauty and so on, in doing so through the observation and also through works, then humanity has an intrinsic value for existing, but the act that it still doesn't erase the fact that certain types of spreading, certain types of behaviors destroy parts of the world and even destroy ourselves. You can't just play it like a 4X game. Yes, imagine sentience spreading across the galaxy, and as it does, the cosmos coming alive with beauty.
That's a really powerful image. Beauty flowering in the universe as intelligence spreads. Thank you. I hope you're right.
I want to ask you about something else. What's your analysis of the southern regions?
The southern part of the island is a natural desert, basically just due to the chemical composition of the soil. I haven't been able to work out why it's so warm, though. It could be a warm ocean current or something to do with the megastructure's thermal output. New Jerusalem doesn't have the kind of equipment I'd need to figure that out.
If it's the megastructure's thermal output, then it's not a natural desert. Do you think Byron is okay?
I hope so. I understand why he was impatient, but he should have been more careful.
Did you know Cornelius?
Yeah, everyone knew Cornelius. After Eustathius retired, he was the only one left who was there since the beginning. Except I guess none of us really knew him after all. We all thought he was lost in the past, always studying the archive and the simulation. But he actually had all these secrets. And a daughter.
Eustathius. I've heard the name Eustachius before, and I thought it might be pronounced like that, but it's just like I've been choking on that this whole time. Eustathius. Are you disappointed in him?
No, just surprised. Maybe a little sad that he felt he couldn't trust anyone with the truth.
What did you do in New Jerusalem when we went back?
Mostly just made sure Pellegrino didn't mess up the VTOL. We only have a handful of them, and while they look cool on the outside, the truth is they're held together by gaffer tape and good intentions. There's a reason Melville's always complaining.
Societies unwilling to invest effort and resources into their infrastructure cannot remain functional.
When you put it like that, it seems hard to argue. More and more stuff isn't working anymore, and eventually there will be consequences.
There have been consequences. It sounds a lot like how an entire city was lost once. Miranda said that the fundamental language of reality is a kind of music. Thoughts?
I think that's one of the most beautiful things I've ever heard. I hope it's true.
What kind of music do you like, by the way?
Okay, this may sound like a robot joke, but I love heavy metal, especially the more melodic kind. It's big, it's epic, it's full of emotion. You can really get lost in it. Actually, I named Bruce after Bruce Dickinson, the lead singer of Iron Maiden. They used to call him the air raid siren, which is also what my Bruce sounds like.
That's all. Thanks, Yakut. He's interesting because he seems like the most regular-ass dude in this whole setting. And he also has the most direct similarity, I think, to the guy that we're getting all the recordings of, Trevor. He's almost like he almost feels like a successful recreation of him.
One day, undoubtedly, an expedition will pass by this island. It will seek to document facts and statistics, to enumerate reasons for us not to look more closely. That is what we do now. We seek facts rather than truth, because truth might frighten and unsettle the comfortable people who like to sit in their conference rooms and debate which corners we should cut today. These people like to imagine the chaos that could come one day, like a comforting fairy tale of distant darkness. But they do not see the chaos that is at our walls right now. The chaos that also lives within us. A force that is both necessary and appalling.
Oh, that looks really weird. That edge. Alright, so they put a ladder here for obvious reasons. Because going there completely traps you. Alright, with the power of you, I can go inside there. Anything else out here? A lot of open air, cliffy areas. It's really strange at this point in the narrative. Interesting. So I can't use that to teleport there. From out here, I can teleport back and forth. This would potentially, this kind of bunny hop would allow me to teleport here and then teleport there with the gun and take it to a different section, because you can't take it through its own hole. The issue is that if I try to bring it out here, then how do I get in this chamber that the gun's currently in? Because the only way into that chamber is with the same thing. Like, I can't grab this from this side, because you can't pull it through its own hole. And I can't shoot that wall from here, because this wall will go away if I target that one. I mean, you just can't target it in the first place. You also can't shoot it from out there, but if the teleporter, if I get it out there, then I can teleport it to here. So my goal is essentially to get it out there, I think. So I guess maybe then the idea is to nab this and put it here. I'm not sure how helpful this is going to be. So you can't shoot them from here. But it is outside now. But is that helpful? I still can't shoot that. Yeah, I'm really just ultimately back to where I started. I can't bring this through here. I can't grab it and teleport. Well, no. I can grab this, teleport here, then here, get this open. Yeah, I'm not sure why I thought I was stuck. I guess it's just kind of mind-bending to think about. Where was that statue with the green thing? I saw it early on, and now I know the source of it. I just need to figure out how to take it anywhere. And given how they've been going so far, there's probably just like a secret beacon somewhere, a connector, which are kind of a frustrating mechanic. They're really hard to see. And that... it's just a spotting puzzle.
What can I do for you, 1K?
What did Mayor Hermanubis say?
He blamed Byron for being headstrong and foolish, which I don't see it quite the same way, but it's easy to understand why the mayor would think that. It wasn't hard to convince him that we can't leave Byron behind, though. You may not agree with Herman on a lot of issues, 1K, but he's not a bad person. He's doing his best in a difficult situation.
Do you think Byron is still alive?
I hope so. He's always been annoyingly hard to get rid of.
Do you believe it was wrong for our ancestors to create us?
Why do you ask?
Because you seem very opposed to technology, and we are technology.
I'm not opposed to technology. I'm just opposed to trying to dominate everything. We can be part of the planet's history without having to be its masters.
Tell me about Cornelius.
He was the third to be born, after Athena and Eustathius. He was an important figure in New Jerusalem's early history, almost as important as Athena. But after she vanished, he faded into the background. I don't think anyone suspected he knew where she was.
What was he like as a person?
I didn't know him that well, but he was always very calm, very thoughtful. Everyone respected him.
Do you like text adventures?
I do. Although I prefer the term interactive fiction. It's better at capturing what this art form really is. Storytelling, but with a completely different underlying structure. As a category, it's more equivalent to poetry or the novel, rather than, say, film.
Wow. I didn't expect that.
Why not? Because I'm a joyless, by-the-book pencil pusher? I'm focused on the mission, 1K, because what we're doing here matters. That doesn't mean I don't have my own interests or don't appreciate art.
Don't you worry that if New Jerusalem doesn't grow, art will stagnate?
That's something Byron and I never agreed about. I think we have an infinite capacity to come up with new ideas. There's as much to discover inside ourselves as there is out here.
People aren't that deep. I agree, but I don't think that means we should stop growing.
Maybe not. But maybe we need to stop looking for answers in places like this one.
What do you think about Miranda's terraforming efforts?
It makes me wonder why people always think they know better than nature.
What was Eustathius like? People rarely talk about him.
He was in charge of planning New Alexandria. It was his mistake that led to the disaster. After that, he retired from public affairs and dedicated himself to his studies.
Do you blame him?
Yes.
Do you ever think your beliefs are a response to what happened in New Alexandria?
You mean, am I unduly influenced by my experiences? Unable to imagine the better future Byron wanted because I'm too traumatized? Could be. But I'd like to think I'm a little more self-aware than that.
Thanks, Al. I don't have any other questions for now. That could have gone much worse with a different person. But so far it has been a just explore all the options kind of game and not usually full of choice necessarily. That's just such a nice color. It's so pretty. This environment's almost loud compared to the one we were just in.
In the early days, humankind lived in a world of unexplained wonders and terrors. The powers of the elements were understood in terms of gods and spirits. After all, how else could one explain thunderstorms and earthquakes? But as the realm of scientific knowledge expanded, the realm of the mystical began to shrink. The sacred grove, as Hegel wrote, was reduced to mere timber. But as superstition retreated, another thing was lost: meaning. In a purely mechanical universe, people yearned for the comfort provided by gods and spirits. But there was no way back.
But what about the beauty of the universe? The perfection of everything around us, couldn't they see that?
Not sure I can see that, Miranda. But I do think there was another way, a way forward instead of back. Faith not in an invisible world, but in ourselves, in each other, in the inherent value of consciousness and civilization. They never really found it, but I think that in those last months when their whole species was dying, they caught a glimpse of it. And that's how your mother was born.
Aww. Everybody died. Tee-hee. Ooh woo. So we need one more. You can't teleport through this. And the thing holding this open is not visible on this side. There's no more items around. And so a question is raised. Hi. So it's not about height. Does the box serve any purpose besides the fact that it is a box that can therefore press a button? What use does the teleporter have in the puzzle beyond the initial getting the pieces out of the rooms? Which is the least interesting part of these puzzles, when you just have to grab the stuff, because it's just in a few compartments that require minimal interaction. Because this gate does not, there's no jammer, and this gate does not require a button. On just a really basic level, trying to move forward stops you. So how are we gonna get there? Because I kind of doubt there's like a teleporter trick here. Yeah, we can't jump it. I'm not gonna be able to put this on there. Which is unsurprising, because that just does not even remotely feel like it'd be the solution. So this room itself should also be dead level. Like, that's the impression I get about this room and that room, is that they are now dead level. They're just not relevant. There's no pieces to get from them. They don't come up again, and they don't affect the current challenge. They're just dead to us. Can't jump up there, can't teleport. Ah. Okay, it's a little goofy that I got stuck here, honestly. You stand on the button and teleport while you're standing on the button, which gives you line of sight, and then it doesn't matter that it closes behind you. It took me longer to figure that out than it should have, honestly. Welp.
You know, a couple of years back, we went on a scavenging expedition to an ancient industrial complex south of New Jerusalem. It was enormous, sprawling, an area many times bigger than our whole city, just dedicated to manufacturing. It was incredible to think about the sheer variety of things they produced. And it made me realize how austere, how restricted our lives are. You know how most ancient structures are overgrown? It's kind of pretty, but in a sad way. Well, this one wasn't. There had been some kind of chemical spill. I don't know if it happened while the structure was still operational, or if something had just rotted through, but it killed everything. Even centuries later, nothing could grow. It didn't have to happen that way, and history doesn't have to repeat itself. But we do have to remember that it did happen once.
He's got the most even read on everything, really. One of the most important takeaways of a lot of this is that we aren't human. These are not humans. They don't have the same needs as humans. They don't have the same drives as humans. They're perhaps being overzealous in their defenses against the idea of doing what humans did, because they, I mean, we only have the tiniest hint that even one of them even has capitalism. Like, so many of the concepts just don't apply. Expedition Megathread. Please post your thoughts on the expedition in this thread and keep it civil. I think the powers that Athena has unlocked are world-changing, and it's our responsibility to use them to lessen suffering for all living things. We know. We heard your broadcast. I think we're being tested, and Byron failed the test. What happened to Byron was an accident. Is there a difference, ultimately? Yes, there is. No one's actually seen Athena or Cornelius or Miranda at the megastructure. They could all still be aliens. Jock. I feel like we need to at least think about the potential of all these new technologies. Maybe the Founder's trying to teach us how to use them. Why is everything malfunctioning on the island now? Is it because of Byron? He was still logged into the system. His presence may be stabilizing it somehow. Or it's Pandora. She seems to want to stop the team. Honestly, I wonder if Pandora is just somehow malfunctioning. Like, she's supposed to protect the megastructure, but she can't tell friend from foe. The choice of Pandora as a symbol cannot be accidental, and the message is obvious. The megastructure is Pandora's box, and we should not open it. That's at least her goal in her message. The question is whether she was made a Pandora or she made herself Pandora, akin to that message. But also, this game is whoops all dichotomies.